Hey everyone.
Hello everyone. Hello. Um, it's a very special community call today. We're hosting, actually it's the 12th one, first of all. So we have been doing that for a year till now. And today's community call is actually dedicated to our win in the parachain auctions on Kusama. So we are super excited that Genshiro eventually got the slot. So it's kind of symbolic that we're currently hosting the 12 community calls, which means is that our path from of our journey basically took us 1 year from the start of this development, and we eventually in 1 year we got the slot on Kusama. This is really awesome. So the next achievement for us is obviously the slot on Polkadot, but today's will be more focused on our achievements on Kusama so far. By the way, we also congratulate all our friends in the United States upon the Thanksgiving Day. Happy Thanksgiving. And to kick off, traditionally, let me introduce myself. My name is Alex. I'm the CEO and the founder with the Equilibrium team. And today I'm joined by my colleague Peter. I'll let him introduce himself.
Yeah, hi guys. Nice to see you all here. My name is Peter, and as usually, I'm responsible for the tech management within Equilibrium, and we'll be discussing tech updates today as well.
Amazing. So let's put things this way today. So we will give you a short presentation with all the things that we have achieved so far. We'll give you some highlights on our roadmap in terms of how we're going to improve things in Genshiro, what you can expect next in terms of your bonuses, so on and so forth. Today we'll be joined by a lot of guests. We have prepared 4 panels for you. We will be joined by our colleagues from different projects on Kusama, specifically from Altair, from Moon River, from Phala, and many others. And also there will be quite a lot of funds joining us today. So we'll be covering a lot of interesting questions related to specifically the Kusama ecosystem. And obviously we'll be taking questions from you guys. Don't hesitate to drop your question to the questionnaire section here. You can see the ask a question menu item here in the bottom of the screen. So please drop your questions there. We will try to address all of them in the course of today's call. So without further ado, as usually, we have prepared some slides for you. Let me share my screen, and we'll walk you through the very short presentation. It definitely would not be long because, again, we will have today 4 panels and definitely take some time. So yeah, just to kick off, let me cover our today's agenda for the presentation. So first of all, we definitely would love to share with you our excitement according to our winning the parachain slot on Kusama. Then we'll share some plans for Genshiro, highlight some aspects of Genshiro Farm Fest, which is kicking off very soon. It's actually also dedicated to our brand new slot on Kusama and actually opening up the platform for everyone. We'll share some development updates. And also we will share some plans on the crowdloan campaign on Polkadot, and I'm sure that will be very interesting to the most of today's listeners and viewers. And by the way, we also have actually identified who won basically quite substantial rewards in terms of our Megaboost that we have rolled out on Genshiro. We also will announce these lucky winners in the course of today's call. Cool. So first of all, let us share some numbers around our slots on Kusama that we have won just now, specifically on Monday, the 15th auction on Kusama has been over, and we actually got the slots. We have raised quite quite significant amounts of KSMs during the campaign. It was 48,000 KSM, which comes to roughly $17 million. So there were roughly 5,000 contributors actually in the crowdloan campaign. We are giving out the whole reward pool of 240 million gens that we have actually allocated for the crowdloan campaign on Kusama, and this is an amazing 24 million US dollars figure. So all these funds will be distributed to you, our community. We're super thankful to everyone who actually participated in the crowdloan, and without your support, it definitely could not be possible. So thank you very much. This is our common achievement. We definitely will be keeping up with our roadmap, and definitely will be dedicated to serving you guys and actually delivering exceptional services in terms of our Genshiro product line. So what you can expect next. So first of all, literally today during this call, we will announce Megaboost winners. So we share the addresses who actually won during this lottery, and according to the conditions, basically everyone who won in the Megaboost campaign will get substantial bonuses. Respectively, 5 of top 20 contributors during the last week of our crowdloan campaign will get 3,000 Genshiros as an additional bonus to their contributions on each KSM they contributed into the crowdloan campaign. And out of the entire number of contributors who actually put their KSMs during the last week of the campaign, they will get absolutely outstanding rewards of 10,000 Genshiro tokens per each KSM. So stay tuned. Today, later during the call, we'll announce all the winners. So secondly, like the second step for us in terms of Genshiro roadmap is unfolding us as a parachain on Kusama. So it takes some time, and we expect to kick off the parachain on Kusama at the beginning of the next week. So then the next step will be opening our beta version. As you know, Genshiro is currently up and running in the closed beta mode for a limited number of users. After we get onboarded as parachain on Kusama, we're expecting to open the beta version for everyone and to kick off the farm fest, which will allow early comers to earn quite significant farming rewards on the funds that they will be putting into the system. And we also will be touching today on this farm fest. We'll share some more details. Also keep an eye on that as well. So the next step after opening the beta will be distributing Genshiro rewards that everyone gets through the crowdloan campaign. Just to remind you, we're distributing 10% of the entire allocations right away, and the entire 90% will be vested in the course of the parachain lease period. And also, it's also very important for our community, I believe. We will start off finally the log drop for everyone who participated in the EQ Gens log drop. It will actually start off simultaneously with distributing Gens rewards for the crowdloan campaign. So after that, we'll update the runtime to support the automated market maker for our xDOT implementation. So we expect that to be done at some point in December. And actually, later on, we're expecting to add KSM to our money markets and launch the XKSM implementation for the crowdloan campaigns on Kusama. Then we will be opening the Gens pools on PancakeSwap and SushiSwap, and simultaneously we'll be starting the integration with existing parachains with other projects, and we also will be touching on that in the course of today's call with several projects that will also participate in our call today. So few things in relations with farm fests. So first of all, we will be rolling out the update into our liquidity farming program. So it will be slightly changed compared to the existing distribution mechanics. So first of all, it will actually account for several more factors, not just necessarily just liquidity that you put into Genshiro pools, but also it will account the actual gens stake in your portfolio. So the more gens you will stake among other assets into the system, the more rewards you will get through the liquidity farming program. And also, the more that you generate through our products, the more gens you will get eventually. So the APR will be higher than the current one, up to 40%. So again, the program will be rewarding the activity in the system. So the more activity you produce in the system, the more rewards you will get. And the factors I already named, specifically, like, again, increased gen stake, more liquidity pools, and more debt generated to the system. So without further ado, let me give it over to Peter, who will be covering the tech updates on our roadmap.
Yeah, thank you very much, Alex. So here's a slide for you guys, and well, it's not a surprise. We're busy as usual, working our asses off here, and lots of cool stuff has been happening recently related to tech within Equilibrium and Genshiro. So the xDOT, we have finally launched the referral program and rewards in EQ tokens. So go ahead and vote for your favorite project and earn not only their rewards, but also our rewards in EQs. Also spread the word, earn referral bonuses, and boost your crowdloan rewards as much as possible. We have pretty much developed the new exciting product, which is called Yield Space AMM. And it's hot stuff currently in Ethereum. No one has done that before for Polkadot. Basically, we have a substrate version of that. And in simple terms, that thing allows us to price some yield-bearing tokens and introduce some interesting products to our users, like fixed-term interest rate bonds and stuff like that. And the first thing we'll be using it for is the xDOT AMM pool, which is really cool because this is pretty much the unique mechanics for all the liquid dots you have out there from different projects, and we're really proud of it. We're also working as part of this entire xDOT project of ours on the Polkadot to substrate bridge, so we can eventually bridge DOT tokens into Genshiro. And there's quite several exciting options there we're considering right now. But basically, we need that functionality. So there is DOT liquidity for that AMM pool I just talked about. Alex already covered the new liquidity farming model. This is also a really cool innovation from our side because it's relatively new mechanics and it takes into account some factors, and basically those factors are structured that way that we want to maximize the user activity inside our system. So the more liquidity you bring, the more stuff you borrow, or the more you trade on our decentralized exchange, and the more Genshiro you keep within the system, basically the more you earn as a participant of our DeFi ecosystem. Bridges. As you know, we're already bridged to Ethereum and to Binance Smart Chains, and a lot of liquidity to our closed beta came from those chains. We're happy to introduce a new connection to the HICO ecosystem. Pretty much that's like an EVM-based net, which is also bridgeable because our bridge works out of the box with EVM like chains. And next up is Polygon, which is a layer 2 for Ethereum. So users who sit on Polygon and do something there, they will have an opportunity to experience a new and novel DeFi Equilibrium and Genshiro ecosystem as well. DEX, well, that's we have been talking a lot about the DEX, at least for several past community calls. And as you know, we are fast approaching our finishing touches on it. Pretty much everything from the tech perspective is ready. We're currently extensively testing it, playing with orders, playing with matching, see how everything works, playing with some external APIs, and trying to make it as slick and as cool as possible for users to have the best experience out there. So currently what's left is only the interfaces, and in my opinion, it's the hardest part, because we want to make it as intuitive as possible, as cool as possible, and pretty much will be the first order book based DEX inside the Polkadot and Kusama ecosystem, who actually have the working and active product. And I hope we really release that till the end of the year, and our users will get to experience that firsthand. And some exciting news about the ledger. As you know, we have been working on the ledger support for our chains, and past week or two we have been quite closely involved with them testing our setup or our application for the Ledger Live store, and pretty much it's almost done. And so it already the Genshiro application is already listed under the dev mode, so we're only waiting for the approval from the Ledger team to list it already officially. And it's pretty cool, because we're one of the first projects in the ecosystem, both in Polka and in Kusama, who do that. And I know Moonbeam has been involved with that, and probably we'll talk about that with them later today. Yeah, so Alex, that's it for the tech updates. So if you please go to the next slide, I will talk about the Equilibrium crowd loan. So some exciting news for everybody. We've decided to increase the allocation for the crowd loan up to 20%. As you know, before it was only 10%, and we already spent some of that allocation to support the PLO phase 1. Where we gathered 250k dots, which will definitely help us to secure the slot this time around. And we've also allocated a quarter of that huge pool to the bonuses. And as you know, we have a quite complicated bonus structure, and I won't really dwell into details here, because we have had wait lists, we have had people who participated in Kusama, we have had early participants. Pretty much we'll be giving out rewards to everyone, but the main takeaway from here is that you will get the maximum bonus out of all the possible bonuses you're eligible to. So currently the maximum bonus is 25% for the early bird participants. So I encourage you to go to xDOT Equilibrium.io and stake your dots, give your vote for Equilibrium, because we're the innovative DeFi project out there who really does cool stuff. Also, as you can see, we have a referral program, and we had something similar in Genshiro. So 3% for referrals, 3% for referees. It's already up and running. Pretty much your public key or your Polkadot address is your referral code. So spread the word, share it in Twitter, Reddit, Discord, in other communities. Tell people how awesome we are, how awesome you are. Earn extra bonuses and be happy. And pretty much we've talked about xDOTs. If you vote through xDOT, you also get to keep your liquidity in the form of this derivative token. And as I already mentioned, it will be priced in this new innovative AMM pool, pretty much like a zero coupon bond, if you know what it is. So exciting times. I'm really excited to see how it works, and we will start testing it as early as next week already, and we'll play with it on our local DevNet. So I'm excited, yeah. And as for distribution, yeah, nothing really new here. We follow the same approach as most of the projects do. We will be distributing 10% of the tokens immediately, and the 90% will be vested over the duration of a slot lease period. Yeah, and I forgot to mention that we plan to launch our campaign somewhere mid of December, and by that time you will get an article and an explainer about all the bonus structures. So don't be worried. We will try to make everything as clear as possible, so you don't have any questions left about our upcoming crowd loan campaign. So that's it, Alex. Thank you very much. And now I'm passing it back to you.
Thanks, Peter. Thanks very much for this amazing update. Like just one heads up to you guys. Again, we are running the xDOT platform right now, so you can vote for Equilibrium already, despite we are not running the crowd loan campaign on chain at this point. But what's remarkable here that we also supporting other projects, and actually we have assigned additional bonuses for participation in their crowd loans through xDOT. Specifically, you can earn up to 1 EQ token per each dot that you're putting into crowd loan campaigns through xDOT at this point. Cool. So there was actually the shortest presentation we ever done on the community calls, and now I actually want to introduce some of our colleagues. Basically, we'll host, as I said, a few panels today. So the first panel will be dedicated to investments in the Kusama ecosystem. And actually, the participants of these panels are the representatives of quite known and influential venture capital firms in the ecosystem. So let me actually hold on a sec. Let me introduce, invite them on the screen. Sec. Okay. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me? Hi.
Yes, we can. Hi. Hold on a second. Okay, cool. So yeah, so more guys are joining. Hi, Wai, how are you?
Oh, good. Thanks.
Long time no see.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, what was that? It was like couple months ago when we were touching base last time, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, hello everyone.
Hi, Grace, how are you?
Yeah, good.
So I'm wearing my hat because we are celebrating our brand new on Kusama right now. And it's kind of the celebration party for us. And so we are happy to host you guys with us today. So it will be like the very short panel, very natural flow conversation. We'll be covering some stuff related to the Kusama parachain auctions, investments in the Kusama ecosystem specifically, if you guys are doing that. So we're actually waiting for a couple more guys joining us as well. It's Leslie from GBV. So probably, hold on a sec. Let me try to invite them once again. Okay, Leslie's saying he is reloading the page. So let's wait just one more minute and then we'll start off. Okay. So we have quite a lot of folks actually joining us today. We see that almost 600 people registered for the call, almost 150 guys actually online, which is really exciting. It's very well attended event apparently, and we feel quite a lot of excitement around winning the slots by us overall, and so on and so forth. Definitely very helpful for the project because we see a lot of interest and actually more people joining our community, following the projects, and expectedly using our products as well at some point. So yeah, this is exciting. Cool. Let me maybe once again remove Leslie from here and try to invite him once again. Sorry guys, it happens sometimes, with crowdcasts. We have the experience of hosting more events here, actually quite also well attended. There was the Polkadot Defines we hosted last spring. Also, we hosted the Kusama event recently. So yeah, always something goes not as it's planned. Okay, so Leslie joining once again.
Yes. Sorry about that.
Hello. Hi, Leslie.
Hi.
Can you hear?
Hi, Leslie. Yeah.
Amazing.
Okay. Sorry about that.
For some reason, I hear quite massive echo. Leslie, I think it's on your. Side.
I'm muted.
You're muted.
So
You're muted. Okay. Okay, now it's fine. Okay, so what actually we wanted to. So now it's echo. Can you guys hear this echo?
I think the other guys should mute.
Okay. Now it's fine. Okay, cool. So we actually, first of all, wanted to touch on investments in the Kusama ecosystem during this panel, but maybe first of all, I will ask you guys to introduce yourself. Let's start maybe with YY.
Hi everyone. Hey, first of all, happy Thanksgiving Day. This is YY from Signum Capital. So we are based in Singapore, and then the weather is still as hot as summer. Yeah. So I think our fund started to do blockchain investment back in 2017, and overall we have gone through all the last cycles, and then early last year we started to go further up, and we get a fund management license from MS, the Central Bank of Singapore, and we start to raise a bigger fund, and the fund has closed, and then we fully we are deploying and start to deploy for our first regulated fund, and subsequently I think in the middle of the year we have another new fund started, and together with a local bank here. Yeah, so it's in the final stage of closing. Yeah, so after that we probably will do something more in the regulated space, because I think last 2 years we have seen quite a lot of these DeFi experiment going on. So I do believe, because also before I started this fund was with 5 years with the PayPal, running their incubation and innovation part of the PayPal. So I do see that there are some good things that we can actually really to roll it out to the mass market, right? So even though it's kind of now what we have seen is still very much limited to the a small group of people. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks very much for the intro.
No problem.
Leslie, do you want to be next?
Hey everyone, my name is Leslie. I'm the co-founder of GBV, where we love to use DeFi and other projects, and we're a fund that focuses on early stage projects, and we're on multiple different chains. So Kusama, Moon River, Boba, there's a chain that we're working on. All these layer 2s, Near, Stacks, you name it, we've used it. That's sort of our edge, and very glad to be here, and thank you for inviting me, Alex.
Amazing. Thanks very much. Grace? You're muted, just in case.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yep.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Congratulations first. It's a very nice move, and it's a big milestone for the project. Yeah. Maybe let me introduce DFG and J-Square first. DFG is founded in 2015, and it's a global investment firm with over more than like 1 billion in AUM, focused on empowering blockchain and Web3. And recently, DFG has become a leading and active member of the Polkadot ecosystem. We have invested a lot of good Polkadot projects, including like Phala, Asta, HydroDex, Infinity, Italy, Manta, Equilibrium, and many more. And J-Square is a newly established capital, which is focused on NFT, GameFi, and Metaverse. Since its announcement in August, we've already had a portfolio of over 30 projects, including like CoinList, and 3IQ, Infinity, Big Time, Iron Cell, etc. And they are separate but work very closely. I'm CMO of J-Square. Yeah.
Amazing. Thanks very much for the intro. Cool. Amazing. Thanks very much for the intro. Cool. Yeah, so firstly, to kick off today's conversation, let me ask the following question. So you guys mentioned a lot of different blockchain networks, and I'm assuming that you are investing in projects on these networks. Leslie also touched on that, and why. And if it comes to Polkadot-based projects, or specifically projects who are building on the substrate framework, do you distinguish projects like those who are building on solely Polkadot, or from those who are building solely on Kusama? And do you think it's necessary for the project, which is considering itself as a parachain on Polkadot, to launch its canary network on Kusama? Like, what's your perspective on that?
I think maybe I can start first. Yeah, for that, right, we actually will ask them about the differentiation and the plan, right, for when they deploy in, say, in Kusama, and then what's the next plan when they want to do it in the. I see there's some project like they use it as a test bed, and then but there also are some project that are really having different focus on the Kusama versus on this Polkadot. So I think we are fine with that. It's just that also depend on the team, and then sometimes we see that they are really learning a lot from the Kusama deployment that before they actually go in bid for the parachain in the Polkadot. So that actually helped them to build up quite a good trial and error experiment from the Kusama, and that actually proved to be quite useful for the project when later on they roll it out in the Polkadot. In fact, I think the timing is just nice, because for a lot of DeFi application, I think after the whole 2 years of all the DeFi, all the craze about DeFi, I think that we can see that we come to a point whereby the regulator start to observe, and then they probably will think about how do we actually regulate and things like this. But I think that's good for overall ecosystem, because once you regulate, that you know that you can assume that it actually become the industry become much bigger than what we have seen today, and then by the time then those who are already experiencing good enough in the Kusama ecosystem, then they probably can do something in something more regular way in the dots. That's what we see. So in fact, most of the thing we see is that the team actually, some of the team are actually kind of plan it well, they already start to kind of talk to a lot of fintech player or even institutional player on how to actually address the needs of all these mass market need, particularly about compliance and all the regulation side. So this is something I think we see, like the Akala is trying to work with all the the one of the apps in the US for that purpose as well. But I see more and more the project will do the same. Yeah.
Do you think, for example, like let's take Akala or a Moonbeam or like major players, do you think that they become more successful by launching like their Kusama implementation, or this launch actually don't affect their roadmap of the main network? Why?
Yeah, I think we because the thing is that what they have learned in this, I think definitely will be different from that. It cannot be 100% the same, right? So a lot of time it's actually I see it's some improvement. Yeah. So because there's always the gap, that the time lag, and in fact in the time lag of 1 or 2 months, it could be a bit different from what they've actually launched, the product features and things like this. Yeah.
Okay. Leslie, do you have anything to add there?
Yeah, I actually have a pretty strong view on this, and you've seen a lot of projects that are sort of multi-chain. I mean, I don't want to name it given today, but Sushi and all these other guys that are on all these different chains, and then you see some that do very well on one chain. And I'm giving examples from other chains because there's just more projects that are out there. For example, like Trader Joe, and you can kind of tell in the beginning people were trying to feel their way around, and maybe everyone thought that people would use layer 2 or Ethereum layer 2, but you can see right now it's a multi-chain world, and every chain has their own community. And so you see the projects that focus very much on their own community, at least in this meta, have been doing very well. So if you ask me, I look at Kusama. There's a lot of auctions going on. There's a lot of projects that are already built there, versus Polkadot. I'm almost feeling, given there's already a community in Kusama, one should focus on the community there. Who knows if the communities are the same? We all think they're the same, and they probably are. But I think the team that grasps the community in Kusama the best, they're going to be the ones that are most successful. So always grasp the community that's there right now. That gives you a lot of firepower to do things in the future. So my view is it's very important to engage the community on one chain. And even though one's a test for the other, the fact of the matter is that Kusama is live right now. So I think projects should focus on that community.
So do you think that there will be projects that will succeed on Kusama specifically, and they will not go for Polkadot, for example, and just exist in the Kusama ecosystem?
Yeah, it's interesting because right now all the projects are doing both, and it's funny because a lot of our investments are in Polkadot, but the Kusama one, it's a test one, which is fine, but it could certainly be the case. I mean, you may think that if a Kusama project is, say, 1 billion market cap, then the Polkadot one will be 5. May not be the case. It could be the one in Kusama is actually bigger than the one in Polkadot. And so we'll have to see. I mean, it could be a competitive advantage to focus on Kusama, right? And maybe use Polkadot for, I don't know, KYC institutions or something like that. But that, you never have an answer. You just have to see how the whole thing plays out.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. Grace, you're muted just in case, but I know that you guys are very invested in the Polkadot ecosystem, so I definitely know that you have something to say.
Yeah, sorry, mute myself again. I'm saying that I totally agree with Leslie, and I have the similar feeling that maybe at the very beginning, most of people thinking that Kusama is kind of testnet for Polkadot, and the main value still belongs to the official mainnet Polkadot. However, with the success of Kusama Crowdloan and the accumulation of assets in Kusama chain, gradually I think that the two chains are distinguished more clearly. We see Kusama community is growing and more Kusama infrastructure are coming. And eventually, maybe projects building on different chains like Kusama and Polkadot will becoming different as well. I also think that maybe it's beneficial for Polkadot chain to deploy its Canaryl Kusama version because they can accumulate more users with a better time window. But we also invested some projects that is Kusama organic, such as Remark. It is an NFT infrastructure for the Kusama, and we also see like Polkadot, right? We are seeing that some projects to choose to deploy in Kusama only, and maybe starting from Kusama. However, if their next chain will be Polkadot, maybe not, because it's complete already, and they can deploy in other ecosystem as well. So it doesn't mean that the first step is Kusama and the next step is Polkadot. Maybe the first step is Kusama and next will be any chain, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's actually very interesting because there are definitely projects that are building on both networks, like on Polkadot and Kusama. I've never seen yet projects that have no kind of plans for Polkadots and just being deployed on Kusama. At least from those one who actually already won slots on the Kusama in the Kusama ecosystem. So the question here is like from the investment perspective, wouldn't you guys be hesitating to invest in projects that have no ambitions to go for Polkadot? Like from the investment perspective, would be this kind of interesting in your field of interest?
Like the Grace mentioned the project, like RMRK, we also invested in that project, right? So apparently, they have been, I think they have been doing well even on this Kusama. I think there's a lot of other factor, right? So like how they actually grow the community, and then there's a very proposition they have gained in the NFT space. So in fact, sometimes we also kind of also focusing that more than whether the next plan, right? Because I think when they come time to they need to be very deployed to the Polkadot, they will actually it will evolve all the time, right? So but at the same time, we were not saying that you must have the deployment plan in the Polkadot, sorry. Then we will actually invest in you. So it really depends on the the team and also the way they want to deploy existing today on the next 3 months, right? So when we talk to the founders, he really show the plan that what they want to do on the product level, not too much about how they actually choose. I mean, we all know that proven that the Kusama can work, right? So that's for sure. So other than that, we probably will not say, hey, well, without any plan for Polkadot migration or strategy, we will not invest in you. No, that's definitely not the case for us. Yeah.
Cool. Wesley, anything from your end?
Yeah, it's interesting because maybe we're not as focused on Polkadot. We're more spread out, but we only see projects that are thinking about Polkadot. We don't see Kusama-centric projects. It's actually interesting from our expertise point of view, which is working with newer chains and sort of actionable projects. I would almost prefer that they build up Kusama because it means they're pragmatic.
Yeah.
I've invested in Polkadot projects since 2019, right? In 2020, and it's and I'm glad there's Kusama now, so we can actually use projects. And you kind of see competition is heating up. I mean, every guy has their chain. It's like anyone can make a chain, and there's their own community, and so there's enough value in all of these things. You could wait for Polkadot and work on a world beater, but maybe that's an A16Z project, not a GBV project. So if you ask me, I'd much prefer if a project said we'll use Kusama, I'd be like, oh, this is even better. You're a very pragmatic guy. This is my honest opinion. Yeah.
True. Given the sort of price you need to pay for the Polkadot slots, definitely compared to that, Kusama, it might be the right move, specifically for those projects who are not like the biggest ones, and they have no ambitions to become like the major players in the space.
Totally agree.
Grace? Grace?
Yes, I think so, even personally, because I think that timing is very important for the industry and the project, because we are seeing a lot of changes this year. And maybe 1 year ago, when you were saying like GameFi, it's maybe nothing. And when you are seeing a lot of like popular industry, maybe we don't think they will grow like as they are now. So for Polkadot, one thing is it takes already like 2 years, right, to deploy the first project. So for if we want to compete and win in the current fierce competition, you have to have a very booming ecosystem, and it means that you have to deploy a lot of projects, and the efficiency and the timing will make you be ahead of the whole industry competition, because I think currently people are keeping saying the layer 2 is the champ, right? And at the time when Polkadot is the first time mentioned, we also believe that it's the true direction. So we do think no matter Polkadot or Kusama, as long as the project is solid, the team is solid, and they are doing the right thing in a right pace, and we are interested to invest in them. Yeah.
Amazing. Good to know that actually Kusama-based projects can be funded solely being just on Kusama. So I actually have just the last question for you guys. Given that we are celebrating Genshiro's brand new parachain on Kusama, eventually we made it. Maybe you guys have any kind of practical advices or suggestions to us how we can improve Genshiro.
Maybe my simple comment really is that the team have so far done quite well. I mean, and product as well. I think that's why we try it ourselves as a users. And also the thing is we also want to see that one of the things is that how do we actually wrap it up in the form of the mass market, because when probably because of a background from our fund, so we work very closely with all these, traditional finance or all the fintech area, right? So I think more and more people are trying out, and I think there's also some gap we see they need to bridge, especially for UI UX side. So, but I do believe that the core of this Genshiro product and also equilibrium actually is well covered, especially for the risk management side, because risk is more important to any other fintech product, right? So with that, I think we are quite confident that equilibrium or Genshiro can actually become one of the product that go out to the market, because also like Alex, I shared with you earlier on that we actually can look at how we actually go to the sandbox, for example, in Singapore, and then do it actually roll out to the in the local community here, at least at the start. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a very interesting opportunity, by the way, why we need to touch on that separately aside of this call. Okay, Leslie?
I think listen to the needs of your users and respond quickly. I mean, I think that's the most important thing. If you kind of stick to one thing, that 4 months ago we're talking about NFTs, and then we just passed Ohm. So now we're in, there's all sorts of things going on outside to try to take as many of those lessons as you can. And I want to run counter to the point. We think a lot of institutions are coming in with lots of money, but actually the crypto guys kind of have lots of money already. So the crypto crowd is already the institutions. So you may be surprised. I mean, the traditional finance guys may come in and they realize, oh my goodness, these guys are really big already. So the guys that are here already are actually your biggest clients. That's what I would say.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, by the way, with regards to crypto guys who became real institutions. Because I recently read the news about Spanish regulator who actually was complaining about Binance doing a lot of advertising in Spain with regards to exchange, and I said, wow. I was thinking like, wow, Binance is big enough to be captured by Spanish regulator in this way, like from the perspective just of of advertising of their exchange there. So this kind of interesting. And yeah, definitely, like we had the experience like building products for institutions specifically, but eventually we realized the same, that crypto community has matured enough to have institutions within the community, within the space actually. Okay, Grace, do you want to add some advices, suggestions to us?
Maybe like not investor suggestion. It's like embrace the Kusama community as well, because you are.
Sorry, you're cutting off. Okay. Look, guys.
I have a question actually, Alex. So it might sound a little provocative, but since we have a lot of users currently here present with us, maybe not an investment advice, but can you hint on some interesting projects you at least are watching on for the next parachain slots in Kusama?
Good question, Peter.
So, YY or Leslie? Any names you can give us?
I think
Sorry, I missed that. What was that again?
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I was saying a little bit provocative question, but parachain auctions are ongoing. So any interesting names you guys are currently watching, and maybe you can hint on someone for our community, because there are like 600 people here right now.
I'll be frank. I'm not the Polkadot whale, so I leave it to these guys.
YY, what about you?
I think we just talk about some of the project, not too much of the, maybe not, some of them may not actually go for the so-called the parachain auction, like xDOT, the one that focus on the technology wise. I think they are quite good in that sense. Yeah, for that purpose, I think we want to kind of highlight the project, and also some of the things that cover at the application side, like sub-socials and RRK and Polkadot Play. Just change the name to Arjuna. These are the few projects I think they have a different purpose of their parachain, right? Like Arjuna, they try to focus on the gaming aspect of it, just like equivalent to focus on DeFi. So I think this is a very interesting play, because we are trying to kind of look at how the fundamentally how the blockchain can change certain industry sectors, like for example gaming, for example like social media. Then we go into that particular subsector to focus on the project. Yeah. So privacy definitely is a thing. So that's why I think the ZKP, the zero noise proof, that's why we actually are very excited to actually join these zCloud as their investors. Yeah.
Nice. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay, guys, sorry, we're actually running out of time because we have 3 more panels today within the call. So thank you very much for joining us. It was a really amazing conversation. Thank you very much for your perspective on the Kusama, ecosystem, and so on specifically your insights on the investment side of things. Thanks very much.
Congrats for the pinning of the option.
Yeah, congrats.
Thank you
for your time. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. Okay, cool. So we had the amazing panel on the investments in Kusama. So now we're gearing up for the second one. It's actually covering the topic of DeFi on Kusama, and we'll be joined by our colleagues from Bifrost and from Centrifuge. Let me invite them on the screen. Hold on a sec. By the way, later today, we will also announce the lucky winners in our Megaboost for Kusama Crowdloan. So those who actually contributed within the last week of our Crowdloan campaign can potentially get some substantial rewards. So today we will introduce the guys who actually will get these rewards. Hi, Mike. I was warming up this stage for you.
Take your time. Take your time. Hey guys, how are you?
No worries. We're well. We're well. How are you?
Good. Good to
Hi,
be
Mike.
here. Thanks.
Yeah.
Hi, Tyrone.
Hi, hello.
Yeah.
Yo, what's up, guys?
All good. All good. How are you?
Right, I'm good. Nice to see you
Me-
guys today.
Nice to see you. Yeah. So sorry about the timing. It was really interesting conversation with the funds. I could
know.
not interrupt that.
That was
Okay.
really amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks very much. Yeah, so look, today we'll be covering DeFi and Kusama. I know that, first of all, we got the slots. You guys also got slots on Kusama as well, just recently. And seems like we have quite a lot of things to do all together in the ecosystem to improve DeFi overall and so on and so forth. So on this panel, I wanted to touch on several aspects of these things. So let's maybe just to kick off, I'll let you guys introduce yourselves. Maybe we'll start with Tyrone.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Alex, and very congratulations to Genshiro just win the Kusama Power Chain, and I saw you wearing a hat, and happy birthday to Genshiro Kusama Power Chain.
Thank you very much.
Actually, Bifrost is power chain in Kusama first lot auction. The 5th, we won the power chain. So we actually provide the derivative for Polkadot, Kusama, and the multi-chain to bridge up with Ethereum to provide derivative in order to capture the liquidity among different blockchains. So that's the version we want to do. And by now, we actually have removed the pseudo, and all the functions that have been has to be updated through the governance, through the democracy. So the SLP, the slot auction liquidity protocol, has running through different projects among today in Genshiro and Centrifuge, the Alta and all of power chain auctions. So yeah.
Amazing. Just quick question here, by the way. You like with regards to your pseudo removal, it's very kind of brave move, at least from my perspective. Are you guys planning for more protocol updates? And if so, how will you be managing that through the governance?
All right. So it actually depends on how to to determine the palette to control by council or to voting through the democracy. So some important functions such as to upgrade runtime include your main functions of and your main business, and that have to be go through the democracy. And after remove pseudo, something that goes through is not very efficiency, I have to say. But we have to put on some details upgrades in our forum to let the community know what the functions and what the upgrades we need to post on. So but that's going to be very decentralized manner, and each movement can be seen on chain. So that's actually what we are proceeding now.
Got it. Thanks very much for these insights. Mike, don't you want to introduce yourself? Have you guys removed pseudo?
Yeah, of course. I can introduce myself quickly. What we're up to. I'm Mike. Well, I guess first, congrats, guys. I think everybody, happy to see you guys win a slot. That's amazing. I know, from going through it that it's a long slog to win one of the slots, and it's good to see a lot of great projects now, win slots on Kusama and hopefully eventually be live, and really look forward to helping to develop a vibrant ecosystem alongside the people on the call and our other peers at the various chains. I think it's going to be quite an exciting time to launch, the Kusama environment and hopefully the Polkadot environment thereafter, and get all of us, live and operating. I guess just quickly on Altair, I think we won the 9th slot in the Kusama auctions. We hope to be live in about 3 weeks. We're just going through, a few of our steps that we need, just enabled claims collections, and soon should have transferability enabled. Altair is a little bit of a unique kind of in the crypto ecosystem. I think we're one of the only protocols that's looking at bringing real world assets on chain. So our mainnet Centrifuge protocol focuses on bringing assets from businesses that you and me can interact with today on chain, and using DeFi liquidity to finance them. What we're specifically going to do with Altair is look at a much broader basket of assets, more diverse, but also digital assets. So we're super excited to get into financing NFTs, fractionalizing them, and allowing people to borrow money down against digital assets as well as the real world assets.
Right. Cool, guys. Thanks very much for intros. So just to kick off, maybe my first question will be the following. So I know that you also planning for parachain slots on Polkadot as well. So what was behind your decision to go for Kusama as well? Why you decided to build like both projects and to deploy on Kusama first and then go for Polkadot? Who wants to start first?
Yeah, I mean, I can go. I think Centrifuge Altair is actually in a unique position. We've been live on Ethereum for a year, so we're probably one of the only Polkadot projects that was already live and operating on Ethereum. But we're moving completely over to Substrate. In terms of why we decided to launch our Kusama network, I think mostly to give us a ground to test and build functionality that we may eventually bring to mainnet. I think specifically when you're dealing with stuff like real world assets, there's actually this real risk that if something goes wrong or doesn't behave like it should, that somebody's business in the real world can end up in trouble. So I think we're very keen to use Altair to test new ways to financing them, whether that's introducing new debt tranches. Right now we just kind of have junior and senior debt, based on your kind of risk profile. Maybe we'll introduce more, and I think Altair is a great place to test that out. Like I said, digital assets, which is something we really want to test how our protocol will function with those, as tracking NAVs and this stuff is quite different with those use cases. So for us, it really is a test ground, but I think we have a unique community as well for Altair that's excited about different use cases than our mainnet is really excited about. So I think, as much as it is a test ground for us, I think it's also a unique protocol for us that's going to ultimately have different functionality and serve a different community.
Interesting. So do you expect these real world assets to live on Altair network as well, like in parallel with Polkadot's based implementation?
Yeah, exactly. I think you can look at it like Altair is a place, on our mainnet, we want to focus on kind of institutionalized, a little like larger assets that can do a lot of volume, and really drive TVL. On Altair, we can have a much wider group of smaller businesses that are just trying to start out and use DeFi as a new funding mechanism. So I think there's a group of assets that sits really nicely on something like Altair, and then there's like a group of maybe more mature kind of assets that might sit on the mainnet. So it would be two kind of parallel universes where different kind of assets are home.
Awesome. Tyrone, what's your perspective on your sister chain?
All right. Actually, Bifrost is a little bit special because we actually don't have a canary network. We just only have one Bifrost power chain, and by now the Kusama power chain is the Bifrost mainnet, and in the future, the Polkadot power chain will also be the Bifrost power chain. So that would be the one. But how can we figure out that two chains we will transfer, do the transfer from Kusama to Polkadot. So at the beginning we also did want to promote two chains on on Kusama and Polkadot, but we found out that DeFi protocol is actually need to accumulate the liquidity and then the community. So after that, we decided that just only to push only one chain, actually, that we can focus on all of the business in one chain. So in the future, that Polkadot will be the main chain, and the business on Kusama will be slowly moved to Polkadot power chain. So maybe that will going to be appear in two ways. One solution is that we will actually to inject all the information into Polkadot Genesis block. That's one solution. Or maybe the bridge between Kusama and Polkadot is not coming soon. It's not coming shortly. So we will wait until the bridge coming up, and we will slowly to transfer all the chains information and the runtime into Polkadot Bifrost power chain. So yeah.
Interesting. So Tyrone, just a quick question for you. So don't you think that like Kusama community is not that much overlapping with Polkadot community, and your project can coexist in parallel and serve the needs of both communities like simultaneously?
Right. That's a good question. We also considered about it, but we think that if we have a canary network, that's actually another governance community we have to maintain. So and by the way, we have to issue another native token on the canary network. But we think that actually two communities is not easy to control for us, and because as a DeFi protocol, that the liquidity is important. But if users found that the liquidity is not well in one chain, so the one that on that chain, the community is not able to easily control, and some runtime upgrade to do on synchronously on two chains, that will be some problem. Some functions maybe Kusama community they want voted they want to vote it on, but on Polkadot power chain maybe it's not necessarily, or the community is not they don't want to vote for it. So that's going to be a question for the liquidity accumulation.
Got it. So just a heads up to our community. So we are the Equilibrium are sticking to the approach that actually Mike explained. So we are also testing things through on Genshiro before we deploy it on Equilibrium. And we think that definitely we have quite a unique opportunity to test things through before it goes live on Polkadot, right? Because obviously the Polkadot-based projects are considered to be the bigger ones, like the parent projects, basically. So guys, I have another question for you, which is kind of follow up on what we have just discussed. So do you think it's safe to build DeFi on Kusama, where the chaos is expected by nature? By the nature of the network, obviously. Mike, do you want to go first?
So what was the? Do you want to just say that one more time?
Yeah. So I was
the key word.
I was asking if you think it's safe to build DeFi on the network where the chaos is its nature, when it's natural to have chaos on the network. I mean, Kusama, obviously.
I mean, I think so. I think, you know, from my view, I think the biggest issue potentially of building on Kusama, like building out a vibrant DeFi community, is actually the fragmentation of liquidity. If we go, you know, down the road and think that Polkadot and Kusama have a lot of overlapping communities, which we've chatted about this on the call. If we go ahead and build a vibrant DeFi ecosystem springs up on Kusama before Polkadot launches and really starts, I think my one fear, you know, would be that liquidity fragments, right? Is that like in the Centrifuge case, maybe some investors that were going to go to our mainnet and finance real world assets there are now going to our Altair network and saying like, hey, I'm more into financing NFTs and all these little projects because they're more exciting than financing, you know, some big real estate projects on Centrifuge mainnet. So I think, I mean, and this is an interesting point, and I'm hoping to study this over time of, you know, the differences in the communities between the two networks. But I think building DeFi on Kusama is, you know, I think if my theory is right, they are separate communities, and, you know, obviously DeFi is the backbone right now of, you know, a kind of vibrant crypto ecosystem. So I think that would be, yeah, a good thing going forward if we all are successful in doing that.
Aren't you guys worried about the technical side of things here? Because like the Kusama network itself is a sort of experiment, right? So it's kind of chaotic by its nature, right? And potentially it might cause some issues for DeFi protocols and maybe to like even cybersecurity issues. I don't know. Yeah,
I mean, to some extent, that's true, but at least my view right now on the Kusama ecosystem is they're pretty like, it's a pretty, you know, degen crowd. Like people know it's not, you know, your average kind of retail people. I think, you know, the risks are probably pretty well understood within the ecosystem. It is a more experimental crowd. It's people that, you know, expect chaos. This kind of stuff, right? I think that's what Kusama is selling. I think like that's what I'm excited about is like, you know, that's part of growing, and there might be some issues, but that's part of pushing the boundaries, at least for me. And I think a lot of the Kusama ecosystem participants that I know kind of have that same mentality. But yeah, obviously if something goes wrong, it's never good, but it's part of, you know, it's part of growing quickly, I think, in my view.
Right. Tyrone?
Yeah, totally agree with Mike. We got common sense about the Kusama power chain, actually. You know, yeah, people yelling about the exploiting the chaos, but the chaos is actually the experiment field of, you know, a more fast governance and efficiency field for Kusama ecosystem. And from my aspect, that or we can say from all experience, the Kusama is actually totally the safe. That's also the main feature of shared security by, you know, different power chains. So I think that's why the projects actually we are talking about today, and see right here, we are actually choose the Kusama to actually deploy our business. That's the main feature, that the shared security. So yeah.
Cool, amazing. Yeah, we actually also think that Kusama pretty much sustains, and it's also already matured ecosystem which got some value, some practical implication for the projects. The one issue that maybe I see for now, at least from our perspective at Equilibrium, is that you know, liquidity and TVL is not there yet, and we just in the very beginning of this journey to obtain more TVL and practical value for the users. So like we see quite a lot of other ecosystems that are already more matured than Polkadot and has like tremendous TVL inside. Like for example, let's take Avalanche or I don't know, Solana, for example. So we're kind of in a situation when we need to bootstrap everything from scratch, right? So maybe you have some thoughts as well, guys. What we need to do.
I can take on that, Alex. Actually, my 2 cents here is that we need to get interconnected as fast as possible because, we were joking inside our team that by the time we figure out how XCM works, our slot list period will be over. So,
That's true, yeah.
And I think it's of crucial importance for all the projects who are already onboarded to start, communicating, interconnecting, and making our communities experience different use cases, transfers tokens back and forth, and grow the value together, basically. Pretty much, yeah, that's the only way, I think.
And by the way, Genshiro as money markets has a lot of capabilities for that. So we're ready to embrace all the projects based on Kusama, and when we make it into the Polkadot ecosystem, we do the same. Like we're also up to all these conversations, and we're open to any kind of collaboration with the projects within the ecosystem. I don't know, Mike, what's your perspective on that?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I think I think the ecosystem hasn't really launched yet. It's kind of like there's a few projects live, right? Like actually, like Moon River's done quite well at kind of aggregating some early TVL and having some Ethereum projects launch on them. But really, I think I'm looking forward to the next few months. Once we kind of have like 10 or 15 protocols, then you have a little bit more of a robust environment. Because don't forget, even stuff like Solana went very slow, right? There was Serum and sitting there for a year or whatever, and then all of a sudden, as more projects started developing it, the ball started rolling. So I hope as the next 5, 10, 15 projects come on, there's a lot more for users to do. But I totally agree. We need to show, the benefits of building on Substrate, and why people should interact in the environment. Ultimately, it's interoperability between chains, and we need to display that, I think, in these slots to get people excited, and ultimately move them over from these other crazy chains like AVAX and Phantom and everything, where they've grown very quickly. But yeah. Open to ideas and collaborating.
Absolutely. Likewise. Tyrone?
Yeah, just only one example that I can explain this simply and show the advantage of Polkadot ecosystem. The RMRK, the project, they doing the issue NIT within Remark, so that's amazing. Actually, you cannot do that in any other chain, public chain like that. And from DeFi, actually, we are using the XMP to actually now it's HRMP, right? So it's horizontal to transfer the information and assets between power chains, and we have integrate with X token of Phala and achieve the cross chain assets with them, and that's only the initial case for the ecosystem, and all of us will freely connect with each other by XCMP, the next version of HRMP. So that would be amazing, I have to say.
Definitely, totally agree to that. So just to wrap up, I have just maybe one last question. I'm asking that, I will be asking that on every panel. So do you guys have any kind of advices or suggestions to Genshiro?
I guess I'll take it first. I think I mean, we're still in the kind of rewards claims and stuff, and it's been a long journey. So all I can advise you to is you know, work hard to get your contributors their rewards on time, or else you'll become a frozen bunch. But in all seriousness, I think, you know, my advice, and you guys touched on this earlier, so I don't even think you need this advice, is to, you know, talk to the other projects as much as possible and find use cases early, because I think it's going to be a very interesting, you know, first couple months of, you know, rapid collaboration, partnerships, and building together. And I think, you know, probably, especially from Altair's point of view, like we're like this kind of on our own island with our use case, and I think, you know, we need as much as all of us need to integrate and find ways to work together and grow that TVL ecosystem to make DeFi on Kusama successful.
Right. Thanks very much for that. Definitely will follow your suggestions. Tyrone?
Yeah, totally agree. Actually, we are actually doing the, you know, the DeFi 2.0. For DeFi 1.0 is to bring out the assets and the spot market on chain to you know, create out the AMM, and that's the DeFi 1. And by now we have to worry about the liquidity. So actually, three of us are mainly focused on the derivatives and the lending market and the liquidity on this DeFi ecosystem. So for advice for not only Genshiro, and you know, it is for actually the ecosystem and the DeFi in Polkadot, all of us have to be, you know, a union to partner with each other, so we can to make this market, to make it you know, derivative market have, you know, dozen times of spot market, so we can do it well based on the cross chainable and the functions of and advantages from Polkadot.
Right. Guys, thank you very much for joining us today. I definitely agree with you. I think that we need to continue this conversation, talk to each other a little bit more, and figure out the right angles to work together. And definitely, like I'm stick to this approach and to this concept. We are kind of coexisting in one ecosystem, and we need to act as the kind of one front and one kind of collaborative environment per se. So thank you very much. Let's keep chatting beside of this call, and thanks for joining. Thanks for the time.
Thanks, guys.
Right,
Thanks for having
everybody.
us.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, see ya.
Thank you.
See ya. Bye-bye. Okay, cool. So we have the third panel for today, which is interaction between Kusama parachains. Let me invite on the screen the participants of this panel. Hold on a sec.
Am I the only participant in this panel?
Hi, Kenny. How are you?
Hi,
Hey,
Kenny.
what's up?
Good. I feel. Oh my God. I feel like echo on your side, Kenny. Maybe do you have the headset? Because apparently, yeah. Cool. Okay. Okay, while Kenny is looking for his headsets and other guests are joining the call, let me guys remind you that first of all, we will announce the winners in the Megaboost campaign today. And secondly, you already can support Equilibrium's Crowdloan on Polkadot through xDOT. And actually xDOT is up and running. You can put your dots for almost every Crowdloan campaign on Polkadot right now. Hi, Francisco. How are you, man?
Hey, how's it going? All good, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, likewise, pleasure. And guys, apologies for the timing. So we had like 2 panels. We didn't expect them to be that long, but eventually we made it. Thank you very much. Appreciate you made it to the panel. Anyways,
Yeah, no worries. Happy to be here.
Amazing. So we are actually waiting for Hang from Phala right at the moment, but maybe before he joined, we can kick off with self-intros. Okay, so how we put this together. So Kenny, let you start first.
Sure, yeah. So hi, can you guys hear me? Because I think these are only headphones. Great. So hi, everyone. My name is Kenny, and I'm one of the core contributors to Manta Network. We are building a privacy protocol on Kusama and Polkadot to bring privacy to all parachain projects.
Amazing. Francisco.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Francisco. I work for the Moon River team and Moonbeam. I help out with kind of markets related work and ecosystem development. At Moon River, we're building an implementation of Ethereum on Kusama in a nutshell.
Cool. Thanks very much. Look.
By the way, Francisco, I'm really happy to you're winning a slot like in several minutes. So yeah, that's cool stuff.
Congratulations, by the way.
Yeah, congratulations.
It's happening live, yeah, and congratulations to you guys for winning a slot on Kusama. That's a huge milestone. So.
Amazing, yeah, absolutely. We've been chasing this slot for quite a while. I'm wearing the hat today, so yes, we're celebrating the slot on Kusama. Some of our community says that it's well deserved. Who knows? Cool. Okay. So seems like Hang is trying to join. Let me re-invite him on the screen once again. Maybe it will happen from the second attempt successfully, but anyways, so let's kick off with the first question I do have for you guys. So just could you maybe in a nutshell explain the difference between your strategy on Kusama and on Polkadot? Who wants to be first? Francisco?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think our strategy as it relates to Moon River versus Moonbeam, I mean, we kind of took suit of what Parity had already done with Kusama and Polkadot. So I think as Parity originally intended, Kusama was meant to be this kind of canary network where projects could deploy their code first under real economic conditions. But then, I mean, we've already seen Kusama like taking a shape, evolving into a network of its own, right? And I think Parity didn't anticipate like this evolution of the network. And I think it was mentioned before on the first panel by Leslie, maybe, that, I mean, the community on Kusama is just very strong. There's like a very tightly knit community. Yeah, so I mean, not only on Kusama, on Polkadot as well, but we've seen this kind of growing on Kusama. And I think Moon River will kind of have a similar relationship to what Kusama has with Polkadot. So I think it'll serve for a lot of projects to kind of experiment new code and new features on like an Ethereum compatible environment. But then I mean, I don't even know like what shape Moon River will take, right, in the future. We've already had like many interactions with projects that are interested in building on Moon River. I would say that most projects will probably just be deploying on both Moon River and Moonbeam, since it's relatively easy to just leverage the work and the code that you've already deployed on Moon River and kind of port it onto Moonbeam. I think both networks will provide a different set of assets, different sets of users. There's going to be maybe 2 different communities. But we are starting to see like projects telling us like, yeah, we're just staying on Moon River, right? We're not going to go to Moonbeam. Like we want to stay here. Many of which are NFT projects. So I think time will tell, right? How these two networks will evolve. I think our job is to just kind of foster both networks to the best of our ability and provide projects with the best tools and the best ecosystem possible to make their projects thrive. And of course, it's in our best interest as well to kind of collaborate with all parachains on both Kusama and Polkadot. We're very much looking forward, and I think all parachains should have this kind of mentality of being united, and that's what's really going to be the strength of both ecosystems, right? So, yeah, I think time will tell how these two end up kind of taking shape.
Cool, interesting. Can you maybe highlight some specific projects or use cases when someone wants to be just solely on Moon River, doesn't want to be on Moonbeam and backwards?
Yeah, I mean, I think a couple, as I mentioned, it's a few like NFT projects in general. I think a lot of the projects on Moon River, we've seen kind of the most traction within the DeFi space and the NFT space. And many of the NFT ones that we've spoken to are just like, yeah, we like the community on Kusama. I mean, I'm not sure I should name drop since I can't speak for like projects in terms of what they want communicated, but yeah, particularly like the NFT space, we see growing quite a lot on Moon River.
Cool. Kenny, do you want to take over?
Yes. Sorry, after I turned off the video for a second, I can't figure out how to turn my video back on.
It should be a button over there. You click on yourself, and then it should be the yeah.
Haha, perfect. Yeah, sorry, I'm like trying to make a makeshift celebration hat like yours too.
Okay.
But anyway, now that I'm talking, I might as well pause on that project. So yeah, I guess two things to talk about. One is the differences in the actual crowd loan and the crowd loan strategy, and two is the differences in the product development and features of the parachain. So first is, the crowd loan and the crowd loan strategy, as we've probably harped upon several times throughout this conference already. Kusama is a lot more community driven. And I think, I touched upon this last time about like the growth of the parachain auctions and the line graph differences that we see visually. And so, what that indicates to us is, I think the strategy that we took was, and definitely Moon River as well, being more appropriate for that community-driven ecosystem, right? Having that community-based launch, not really thinking about the team tokens or the investor tokens, and really focusing 100% on the community. In that case, I think was a pretty effective strategy, and also highlights the ethos of exactly how Calamari is going to develop versus Manta network. On the DOT parachain side, we've seen that there's a lot more large individual contributors. And also the game theory is a little bit different here, right? Like when we launched on Kusama for our parachains, we used a fixed ratio of rewards, and the community seemed to really like that. But then when we launched on DOT, we started with a fixed ratio of rewards, and then the community was like, no, that's not good, right? So like it's really interesting to start seeing how these behaviors change, because I think a lot of the projects that are building on both Polkadot and Kusama came into all of this thinking, okay, Polkadot and Kusama are basically the same communities. And one is a test net and one is, the main net, et cetera. But the reality is it's not. They have different demands. They have different expectations, right? Like, I mean, when we talk about Calamari too much in our community, our people are like, okay, but what about Manta? And if we talk about Manta too much, people are like, what about Calamari? So, there's definitely a separation there. And so, definitely in terms of like parachain auction strategy and just like communication to the community in general, you definitely have to account for that. In terms of the actual parachain launch and how it potentially could diverge. I think definitely, as Francisco mentioned, right, we also have no idea how the differences will play out in the various ecosystems. But what we do know is that, there are projects that are building on Kusama that are not building on Polkadot. And we see that, or will see that vice versa, we anticipate. And so depending on, how these projects evolve within each ecosystem, the utility of our privacy, the use cases, the features, they evolve as well. And so, with our first initial launch of our private payments, right, like we anticipate that this is going to be very, very similar, if not the exact same on both Manta network and Calamari network, unless there's some sort of extreme governance that takes place that completely shifts the features. But what we do anticipate is that they will diverge at some point because, for example, I guess NFT projects on Kusama, right? Like that, it's kind of starting to emerge on Polkadot, but like NFTs on Kusama are where the whole ecosystem is right now, and so. We do see a world where we potentially have to emphasize more privacy features for NFTs, for metaverses on Kusama more so than we do on Polkadot, right? And so that's just something that we're kind of conscious of. But again, as of right now, it's basically the same, and we have no idea how it's going to diverge.
Got it. So still some unclarity, right? Okay, Heng, are you with us here? I see you here on the screen, but I'm not sure whether you hear us. Hello? Okay, apparently he is experiencing some difficulties with the connection. Okay, cool. Yeah, this is kind of interesting perspective because definitely we still have not that many projects actually launched on Kusama yet, right? And we can just make some statements or come to some conclusions based on the behavior of people who participate in crowdloans, right? But what was your experience in the actual interaction with the users? Because I believe, for example, Moonriver already has the user base, or at least projects who launched on Moonriver. What's your experience with the actual users, and how do you think this user base will be different from those who will be using your products and projects on Polkadot?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think the launch of Moonriver, first of all, just going through that process on Kusama, I think that's been kind of the best teacher for our team. I think going through the process on Polkadot, I'm not going to say it was less intense, but I mean, on Kusama, we were going through these things for the first time, right? So it was rougher to kind of learn all those things on the spot. For Polkadot and Moonbeam, going through that process, the team had already been kind of battle tested in that regard, having gone through all of that, all the auctions and the launch process. And I mean, before launching Moonriver, we had run a testnet Moonbase Alpha for over a year, and we were running a relay chain, a parachain, a set of validators and collators. So we thought we were well prepared. And we thought the launch of Moonriver was going to be this orderly step-by-step process, in a structured manner. And it couldn't have been further from the truth. I mean, as soon as we enabled the EVM, there were just projects deploying all over the place. We saw kind of the limitations that parachains have, rightfully so, since it's such a new ecosystem. So yeah, that in and of itself has been extremely valuable for us to learn. And I mean, we're working closely with the Parity team to find ways to improve throughput, for example. And in terms of the users that you were mentioning, I will say that at Moonriver and Moonbeam, we're more focusing on providing kind of a developer-centric platform. Mm-hmm. So for us, our customers or our users are projects that kind of want to build on Moonriver and Moonbeam, that then in turn kind of attract the end users, right? So for us, our job is to kind of provide the best environment possible for these projects to build on. But yeah, I mean, as everyone has mentioned here already on these different panels, that like a lot of user activity so far, right? And I think with Moonriver, it's been exciting to see that, because I think particularly for Kusama, people had their eyes on what was going to happen on Kusama, especially in anticipation of Polkadot, right? So the fact that we've seen kind of traction and we've seen projects deploying and TVL growing and just usage in general, I think it's a good sign for like Kusama and especially for Polkadot coming up. So yeah, I would expect like different types of users on Kusama versus Polkadot, and a lot of it goes back to what you were mentioning before, that the tokenomics and the strategy was different, right? Kusama is like completely community driven versus Polkadot, where there's, at least for Moonbeam, we had like private investment rounds, there was a seed round, a strategic round. So there's going to be different like user cases. But yeah, we'll see how those evolve over time.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, sorry, I cannot open my video. I tried to open that, but there's some internet connection problem. But yeah, I can just talk here.
Oh, okay, no problem, no problem. Good to have you with us, by the way. Maybe you introduce yourself and jump right away on the question. I just...
Sure. Yeah. So I am Hang Ying from Phala Network. I'm the co-founder and the lead developer. Yeah, before I joined Phala Network, I was a Googler working in Google Beijing. Has been working extensively with this artificial intelligence stuff and touch a lot of user privacy in the past. And at some day, I think, whoa, I'm not going to do that. So I jump out from Google and yeah, jump into the crypto space.
Awesome. So how was your experience with Kusama, and how your guys' strategy difference from the strategy on Polkadot, like between Khala and Phala?
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting question. And we decided to deploy as a Kusama partner because we want to have a taste of what running a partner could look like. So yeah, and in the end, we meet our expectation. So basically, we are running on the bleed run the very how should I say that, the bleed edge technology. And of course, another problem is we're often experience a lot of these kills, and actually some of the kills are made by the Khala network as well. Yeah, so from this perspective, I think I think our community has really done a good job, because we have already successfully launched our full feature on Kusama. At the same time, we are getting prepared for the Polkadot launch. And in terms of the difference between Kusama and Polkadot, I think it's still a very fundamental difference from the community and what are the projects building on the two sides. For example, a very impressive project is RMRK, and it built an NFT even without any smart contract running on Kusama. And this is not something happening on Polkadot, and I think that is a very good example. And for us, as an infrastructure project, we aim to provide the cloud computing infrastructure for both Kusama and Polkadot. We don't have a preference here. So as long as there are users on some on one end, and we will be happy to support these use cases. And recently we made a hackathon, and it got a really interesting ideas. For example, one project is to use our confidential smart contract to store some user secrets, for example, your password. And I think this kind of use case are a very good fit for Kusama, because it's I think the security provided by Kusama is good enough, and the same time I think in the long run, from the Polkadot side, there will be the difference would be a lot of enterprise level, and enterprise level projects, and there will be a lot of very serious DeFi project with very high amount of the assets. So the security is more important. And I think in the end, probably on the Kusama end, there will be more lightweight projects, more with more fun, a lot of gaming related stuff. And on the Polkadot end, there will be serious DeFi projects. So yeah, for this, like password manager is good enough to run on Kusama. But if we're dealing with some DeFi, maybe like make a dark pool, that is another use case from our last hackathon, then I think it will be more suitable to run on Polkadot because there are a lot of more assets there.
Interesting. So with this regards, I have a question for you guys. Like obviously, once we all have become the parachains on Kusama, we need to start interacting with each other, right? And so the topic of the panel is the interaction between projects. I'm curious, like, have you guys started any kind of XCM integrations so far with any kind of projects in the Kusama ecosystem? And if you started doing that, like what were your criteria for choosing your counterparties with whom you are integrating at this point? Can you?
Sure, I can begin. And so have we started with the cross-chain communication integration in general? We have done testnet integrations, and so what we realize is that when you do the first one, here I'm just going to take this off because there's no string, so it's going to fall off anyway. But when you do the first one, it's a little bit more complicated. But once you actually get through the first integration, then it's fairly cookie cutter, and we're pretty excited to be able to do that with a lot of other projects. What we're seeing is that right now, we are starting to get interest from projects that have deployed on Kusama and won a parachain from Kusama, and have started winning parachains on Polkadot as well. And I think that's a really good signal because the integration is extremely critical for a project like ours, right? Because you had mentioned like the community and user base, and our strategy, right, for privacy as a utility. For on-chain transactions, that I think goes back to thinking about who our users are. And to Francisco's point, right, it's not just like on an individual consumer level, but it's also on a project level, right? Because like if we're trying to deliver scalable privacy, scalable on-chain privacy, then we can't go out individually to each person and try to convince them to use it. But if we're able to integrate with other parachain projects, right, and directly make that feature available without them needing an in-house cryptography team, right, like that's a really big value as a service for other projects. And so we have been seeing that interest is rising for integrations. And as soon as we launch our testnet, then the next step we're going to be doing is focusing on those cross-chain integrations.
Amazing. We're definitely yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think I can add something from our end. Yeah. So I think maybe we are probably the first one who run very intensively the cross-chain bridge between a Kusama parachain to Ethereum and other EVM-based blockchain. And this is based on ChainSafe's work called Chainbridge. We use this because our token was initially issued on Ethereum, and it is most of the token holders are on Ethereum from the beginning. But once we launch our blockchain, we have to move their funds from Ethereum to Phala because we're going to need their token to vote and disable pseudo and enable token transfer and the other democracy related stuff. Yeah, so that's why we focus a lot of time working on Chainbridge. And now, Chainbridge is just a very fundamental bridge. It can be used to bridge not only our native token, but also this third-party token. And that's become a very good reason for us to work on the integration with XCM with the other blockchain. So recently we are testing the cross-chain token transfer with some of the parachain team, and hopefully, because we already have the bridge, we can bring the assets from Ethereum or BSC, these EVM blockchains, to our parachain. And next step would be we can use the XCM to bring these external tokens to the existing parachains. And I think this will be very useful, especially for these DeFi projects, because now you only have the access to Kusama token and your native token or some token created by your project. But DeFi, I think the core of DeFi is to have a lot of different kinds of the assets and a lot of liquidity. So this is something I think will be a huge game changer on both the Kusama and Polkadot ecosystem.
Yeah, just to chime in here as well. I mean, I think for us, like we're particularly excited with XCMP and what use cases it's going to present moving forward. I think XCMP is kind of this kind of narrative of interoperability is like what sets Polkadot and Kusama apart from these other layer ones, right? So I think this is what's going to kind of make all parachain teams stand out moving forward. So yeah, I think for now, we've completed the code for having these like asset transfers between parachains. It's been getting audited, and we're trying to like test it before releasing it into production. But just as a concrete example, I mean, one of our partners, Lido, has already kind of successfully tested accessing liquid staking for KSM. So they're kind of remotely accessing this functionality on Kusama through Moonriver. So that's one of the first use cases that's particularly exciting. And then we'll kind of see. I mean, one of the things we've worked on quite a lot are these like pre-compile contracts that will allow Ethereum developers to tap into substrate native functionalities like governance, staking, and accessing these like cross-chain parachain assets using like Ethereum tools like MetaMask, right? So I think in the near future, we're going to be releasing a dApp that will allow users to kind of transfer all of these different parachain assets in kind of one intuitive and dashboard using MetaMask, right? Which I think is quite powerful. I think it's going to accelerate adoption on Kusama and Polkadot. And I think, yeah, this narrative is important, right? And it shouldn't be kind of like underappreciated. I think like the tendency for projects trying to deploy a multi-chain strategy right now is to kind of have this like mono deployment, this like the same instance of the protocol on many EVM compatible chains. But the fact that Polkadot and Kusama are going to be able to provide this like native interoperability built into the design is going to provide like new use cases, right? Because for now, I mean, there's been sort of kind of limitations between these like mono deployments on different EVM chains. I mean, you have to rely on kind of these bridges that they weren't intended to be used for kind of interoperable functions, right? And there's kind of these trust assumptions built on top of these bridges, whereas all of these functionalities will be like native on Polkadot and Kusama. And I think kind of to the point of one of the panelists before, like liquidity fragmentation is a problem, right? And being able to leverage liquidity on different instances of your protocol on another layer one is a challenge. And I think all of those challenges will become more approachable using XCMP, right? So we're particularly excited with all of the interoperability that we'll see, and who knows like what shape it'll take in the future. But yeah, we're excited to work with all of the parachain teams on developing this stuff.
Can I ask a provocative question again? Yeah, so as you know, IBC is a concept which is being worked on in different ecosystems. And at least what I see right now, for example, Cosmos is beating us to it, because recently they've demonstrated like inter-blockchain connectivity pretty much working out of the box, which is really fast, really cheap. So what are your thoughts? How are we going to catch up? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I would say that kind of like the assumption that like that blockchains in general are like in a competitive state, it might not be the correct way to approach things. I think overall, the progress as a whole of Web3 is beneficial for everyone. And I think we're at a very early stage right now. So progress in general is going to like help other chains kind of develop and push other chains to develop new features and progress quicker. So I think it's a positive thing for the ecosystem as a whole, right? So yeah, I would say that any progress within the Web3 industry is I would say is welcome.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah,
also
great.
just to kind of build on Francisco's point, right? Like, I think what we've seen so far, just with use cases and adoption in the crypto space, is that technology is great, but it really depends on the ultimate benefit that you deliver to the users. And so from that perspective, I think, ecosystem development and how fast projects can get onboarded and start delivering products, delivering value is also going to be a very big differentiator, much bigger than, the technology, the underlying technology that we're delivering, right? Because, even in the DeFi space, just as a very contrived example, you see, farms popping up left and right, and people are swapping over from one to another and, staking here, staking there. And it doesn't matter if you have the best staking technology, no one cares. Everyone just cares about the APY, right? And when it comes to NFTs, the marketplaces, it's like, oh, that's great. You've got all these cool features. That's awesome. But do you have the NFT artist? Do you have the art that I'm looking for, right? And so I think that's another key area, right? And I think with that, right, Polkadot is definitely coming into play, especially with the parachain launches on, I guess, Kusama and Polkadot. And so, we definitely have an advantage to, all the different value propositions that we're able to deliver as individual parachains, being able to integrate together and being able to deliver these essentially as a service within the ecosystem. We have a head start, and I think that a lot of awesome ideas are coming out. And so, the features, the value definitely shouldn't be underestimated.
Yeah, nice. Thank you, Kenny. Yeah.
I would add to that that definitely we at Genshiro are very much standing for the intercommunication between projects. And, the thing is, like, specifically for DeFi, it's crucially important to have the whole system working together because it definitely will help the liquidity to improve on all projects up and running in the ecosystem. It's help to bootstrap liquidity on various DeFi projects coming up into the ecosystem. Our colleagues who are also joining the space and so on and so forth. So just to wrap up our today's conversation, because we apparently are running out of time. Guys, do you have any practical advice or suggestions to Genshiro as veterans of the ecosystem by far?
I'll start because it's really funny because, when we first started as a project, I think we were coming a lot to you guys for advice all the time. And so, I think it's an honor to be able to also give some advice, but I don't know. You guys have always been very helpful in the process.
It's an honor to take your advices, but
I mean, I don't know if you guys have tried or started any sort of XCM integration yet, but there's going to be a few road bumps on the way. I mean, Polkadot, Kusama, they're all new ecosystems, and there's updates all the time that kind of break our existing code, and so we have to adapt on like an ongoing basis. I think the first integration that you're going to be doing might be a little bumpy, but after that, as I mentioned, right, like it's going to be fairly smooth sailing. So yeah, just keep your heads up and stay positive and get through the first one, and you'll be all fine.
I will keep my head on. Yeah,
mine keeps falling off.
Cool, Francisco.
I would just echo that. I mean, everything that you do on Kusama first will probably be tougher and like more challenging because it's the first time you're doing it. But I mean, I think you have you can be cognizant of the fact that all of that adversity or struggle will serve you for Polkadot, right? So once you deploy Equilibrium on Polkadot, it'll be much easier to do things because you've already kind of been through the battle before. And yeah, I mean, I would say I think there's kind of this misnomer, right, that Kusama is this test net, and that's kind of, I would say, borderline underappreciated, but I would say like not to neglect like your Kusama deployment, right? Because it's going to have a unique community and no one knows. I think everyone's already been surprised by how Kusama has evolved since it first started, and it's gotten a lot of traction. So I wouldn't be surprised if that traction continues, and you'll probably have like different communities on Genshiro versus like Equilibrium. So I would say kind of value each. So yeah, I think that's the advice I would give.
Amazing. Hang, are you with us?
Yeah, I think most of the advices are already covered by you guys. It's really I think it's really useful for a merchant to be prepared, especially from our experience. I think the most or the hardest part is to keep the code, keep your eyes on the upstream code base, and not only the substrate and the cumulus and the Polkadot. At the same time, you also need to keep an eyes on the SDKs. And in the past, when we were upgraded to v 0.9.20, there were some very serious problems happening on our blockchain. Probably it doesn't happen on other blockchains because on our end we have 10x more TPS on average. But there are the version conflicting, the state cache corruption happening in the node. Then operating such a network is really very tricky. And just be prepared. And whenever the upstream have some change, just have a try locally. And if it breaks, then stand up and trying to get some help. So yeah, this will be really helpful to operating such a huge network.
Right. It seems like the winning of the slots on Kusama is just the beginning of the challenge. Cool. Guys, thank you very much for joining today's call. It was a real pleasure to have you with us. Thank you very much for all your congrats and stuff. Definitely would love to further explore opportunities to work together on Kusama, to integrate, to establish connections between our parachains eventually, and to start moving value from your parachains to others, back and forth. And thanks much.
Thanks for having us. And congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Cool. You too.
Bye-bye.
Okay. So I think we're kind of done with panels. Let me check. So we have like maybe 15 more minutes to, first of all, to take questions from our community and to actually wrap up our today's conversation. We want to announce the winners of our Mega Boost on Genshiro. So let's start with questions first. So we have like 37 questions here. Let's pick just maybe some of them, maybe the most interesting. And then...
Alex, let's pick the top voted ones, and then we'll try to answer all of them. We'll just, to keep our community
Absolutely.
in loop. We will definitely
do that.
Take note of all of them and probably, make an article, a separate article, or somehow we'll address everyone.
But let's be real quick. So first of all, like the first question, people who believed in Genshiro will have the opportunity to buy Equilibrium tokens before listing. Ventureslav is asking. So as for now, we are not planning for the public sale yet. We do have some considerations with regards to that, and once it will shape up in the form of some concrete plans, we definitely will keep the community posted. Okay. When we might get Jan's rewards for KSM voting? This is quite frequent frequently asked question. So as we mentioned within our presentation, so we're currently undergoing the process of onboarding on Polkadot, on Kusama as a parachain, and it will take some time. After that, we're going to open up our beta version to everyone, and a little bit later, we'll kick off the distribution event for all our contributors to the crowdloan campaign. So apparently it will take us like roughly a couple of weeks. So please, guys, keep up with us. Don't worry, we will start distribution very soon. Okay, so here's the question about NFTs. Are we planning for the NFT support for Equilibrium crowdloan? Like the same way, apparently, how we did it for Genshiro. So this, we'll keep it a little bit secret for now, but we definitely have some plans. So we'll announce them accordingly. Will it be possible to make swap between KSM and USDT on Genshiro or other coins? Good question. So as you guys know, we're building the full-fledged decentralized exchange, which will be the order book based and have spot markets with margin trading functionality, and also will have the futures market as well. So on this exchange, you will be able to swap like tokens. The one thing that the main quotation sort of currency for the DAX will be our EQT stablecoin. So apparently you will be forced to swap TSM into EQD first, and then if you want to go for USDT, you will have like several options. One of them, by the way, our curve implementation called Epsilon, which is up and running. And we, as we got the slot on Kusama, we'll be making transition from the standalone substrate into the Kusama parachain, and actually Epsilon will be up and running there, so we'll be able to swap your USDT with a low slippage into like EQD into USDT back and forth. Okay, we'll be able to stake locked gens similar to Shiden, or only gens that we have been vested. Peter, do you want to address that?
Sure, Alex. I didn't quite get the question. You mean like the tokens which are investing, so users can stake them and earn
So I believe that
rewards?
Shiden has the functionality when people can stake not just tokens that has been vested, but also tokens which are unvested as well. So put the whole allocation to staking. Like we currently don't have this functionality.
Currently
What I can
don't,
say,
but I think if it's a good demand from the community, yeah, we can consider everything. We're pretty much open and doing cool stuff nonstop. Yeah, so if it's a cool stuff, we can do it.
yeah, definitely we follow the suggestions and so on from our community. So if you have like indicates a lot of interest, and we see this interest and demand for particular things and functionality, we're definitely up to implementing that. Any possible rewards for people who both voted for Genshiro and Equilibrium if EQ wins the auction? So we actually announced the bonus structure for those who contributed into our crowd loan on Kusama, and we have like specific bonuses for those who also supported us on Kusama. So specifically, they will get up to 10% bonus on your regular rewards on Equilibrium if you participate in the Equilibrium's crowd loan on Polkadot. When will you develop bridge to Avalanche, Cosmos, and Terra? Good question. So we're actually keeping an eye on different ecosystems and actually thinking of implementation of different bridges. So for now, we actually, because it's low-hanging fruits, we are integrating chains which are EVM compatible, and at the same time, we're looking at several other ecosystems, like for example, Solana and some others. And once we implement particular bridges, we definitely announce its launch. When will Equilibrium listed on Polkadot Crowdloan parachain page, and what is the problem for Equilibrium not listed yet on the Crowdloan page? Well, other projects have already registered. Very good question. So firstly, we are not running the Crowdloan campaign at this point because we are not participating in the first batch of parachain auctions on Polkadot. However, if you're interested in supporting Equilibrium, right now you can actually lock your dots via xDOT. And just as a reminder, xDOT is the product which helps you keep your DOT liquids while it's staked for Crowdloan campaigns on Polkadot. And currently we're accepting deposits for future Equilibrium's Crowdloan campaign through xDOT as well. And moreover, we have the early bird bonus, which is currently active, and it is 25%. So you can go right away to x.equilibrium.io and pledge your dots for the Equilibrium's Crowdloan campaign there. And we will be kicking off our the actual Crowdloan campaign on chain at some point in December. And we definitely will announce that separately. How much will be the minimum Equilibrium Crowdloan rewards for 1 DOT? So generally speaking, we have increased the allocation for our Crowdloan campaign. Currently, it's 20% against the initial 10, right? Actually, we have allocated 25% of these allocation for bonuses, right? So we have quite comprehensive bonus structure. We have the early participation bonus, the early bird bonus of 25%, and many other bonuses, including referral program and so on and so forth. We will come up with particular announcement very soon and basically reveal all the details regarding our Crowdloan campaign. But generally speaking, you can do your math and figure out what will be the ballpark sort of reward per 1 DOT in our Crowdloan campaign on Polkadot. So roughly speaking, it will be at least 2 EQ tokens per 1 DOT plus bonuses. So like, do your math. And again, we will make a separate announcements with regards to our particular rewards in the Crowdloan campaign on Polkadot very, very soon. Vast majority of crypto projects are built just for the sole purpose of amassing wealth for themselves. So I want to know the value you aim to add to crypto industry will bring greater ambulance to the industry. This is a very generic question by far, but just as a heads up, our mission is to build up the super app for DeFi, which is embracing all sustained DeFi use cases. And actually, first of all, it's ending the liquidity fragmentation. And secondly, it helps to simplify user experience, first of all, because like the platform which we are building is delivering the outstanding functionality and the outstanding range of functionality within just one application. So given that we definitely will bring a lot of value to the crypto industry, and so there are much more things like which are underpinning our platform specifically, like for example the innovative approach to debt liquidation, to portfolio management, and so on and so forth.
Can I add on this one, Alex? Actually, it's a really good question, and we've already brought a lot to to DeFi, to the Polka ecosystem, and the user who is asking, I encourage him to go ahead and register in Genshiro. At least ask for invite because it's in closed beta right now, and see for himself, because all other projects, they just take MakerDAO, make a copy of it, put it on Polkadot. Take Uniswap, make a copy of it, put it on Polkadot. Take whatever else there is on Ethereum, which is up and running and has lots of TVL and lots of buzz around it, and put it on Polkadot. And look what we have done. We have actually came up with this beautiful system which can, you can borrow, you can trade, you can leverage your stuff, you can, well, I won't disclose all the cards right now, but we have thought out the system the way that it pretty much can support any use case imaginable you see in DeFi right now. So go ahead and try it and then leave your comments. And that is, our biggest contribution to crypto, because we're like DeFi 2.0 right now, where everyone else is basically lagging behind with their DeFi 1.0 projects. Pretty much that's it. Yeah.
Cool. Will it be possible for users to apply as beta testers? So we're actually aiming to open up the beta for everyone. Apparently next week around that. So yeah, please follow the announcements, and you will be able basically to apply, like sign up for the entire product line, just as a regular in the regular way very soon. So I contributed last week. Will I also get the early bird bonus, or is it for the new contributors? So yes, you will get the early bird bonus because it's active. It's been active so far, and it will be active until December 25th. Can we use xDOT to participate, contribute in other projects, sale, or auctions? So xDOT will have very broad functionality, specifically on the Genshiro network. First of all, you will be able to use it as collateral to take out loans in various crypto assets, including major stablecoins like USDT, USDC, DAI, and BUSD. Also, it can be used as staking liquidity. You can stake xDOTs into liquidity pools on Genshiro and earn yield. And like maybe one of the most interesting things that we have implemented quite innovative market maker, automated market maker for xDOT, which differs from the regular Uniswap pools and so on and so forth. So we actually are expecting to launch it into production very soon, and you will be able to swap your xDOT to like DOT, or maybe some special DOT wrapper. Unfortunately, I cannot disclose the whole things right now, but they might be very interesting use case when you can basically use trade your xDOT for some dots and use it in other projects, crowdloans. Okay, so at the time of the Q launch, would the price difference between dots and the Q will be compensated by a drop to the PLO1, PLO2 token owners? I actually didn't get this question, to be honest. We were not planning for any kind of price compensations. Peter, do you understand what the guy means?
Not really, but I think we need to remind users of our PLO mechanics. Basically, if they're not satisfied with anything at the end of the lease period, they can bring in EQs back and get their dots. Yeah.
Okay, is there a path to join the closed beta today? What is the expected timeline for Genshiro to be completely open? Very good question. So again, we are aiming for opening up the Genshiro implementation, Genshiro network very soon. Specifically, we expect next week to open it up for the general audience, and simultaneously we'll be launching the Farm Fest. It's a special event which will encourage people to bring in more liquidity, and there will be quite attractive APYs on your assets starting the Genshiro opening for the general audience. So keep up with us and watch our announcements. When will the operational for mobile devices? So good question. So actually, we're currently kind of stuck with with the Polkadot.js implementation. It currently doesn't support mobile devices, but we are looking for we are looking at more integrations with other wallets. And currently we're talking with several DeFi-focused wallets which are supporting multiple chains, which will make the user experience with our products specifically more convenient. And all these wallets actually support mobile, so hopefully we will be able to introduce some mobile capabilities very soon as well. So the question, everything you plan on doing on Genshiro will eventually be on Equilibrium. Is there anything that you plan on both Polkadot and Kusama? So actually, all the use cases and everything that what we are building on Genshiro is sort of experiments. And once these experiments will show up the strengths and weaknesses of particular products, we'll evaluate the outcome and figure out whether this particular functionality will be eligible to be deployed on Equilibrium or not. Yeah, so hopefully, Chris, I addressed your question. So there will be some overlap between Equilibrium and Genshiro, but all the functionality will be tested on Genshiro first before it goes into production on Polkadot on Equilibrium, actually. Will you allow those who didn't invest in Genshiro to participate in crowdfunding and pre-sale for Equilibrium before it goes to auction? Good question. So again, we are not planning for any kind of crowdfunding or pre-sale events before the crowdloan campaign on Polkadot. We might potentially plan for something a little bit later, but anyways, we will keep you guys posted regarding these plans. Will PLO participant get xDOT token? So again, currently we are supporting Equilibrium on our xDOT platform. You can go to xDOT.equilibrium.io and bid for Equilibrium right away and even get the early bird bonus of 25%. Not a problem. Start doing that right away if you wish to support us and get xDOT as well. So on each DOT token, you will get xDOT. Gen's pools on PancakeSwap and SushiSwap will be live in KSM network, or will they be live on Binance Smart Chain? So obviously, these pools will be live on Binance Smart Chain by far. Hi, Alex, please, can you tell me about special condition for staking and farming for me, a BC owner special unique cat? Good question. So we will keep you guys posted regarding special conditions on staking. Yeah, we actually promised the special conditions for those who are owning a special NFT cats that we have actually dropped through the auction on Variable, and we will keep you guys posted regarding that. Okay. Will you participate in Tokenot Core 3 for getting liquidity money? Really, Renat Mursalimov, I have no idea what you're asking for, to be honest. What are the inflation deflation mechanisms for gens and EQ? So we don't have any inflation deflation mechanism for gens. We are planning for some inflation mechanism on EQ, and actually it's stated in our token economy, but still evaluating. When will the bridge between Polygon and Genshiro be expected to go live? So once we test things through, we will definitely launch into production. So for now, we're in the process of testing. As Peter mentioned during the presentation, we have tested out the bridge with HICO. And so the next step for us is basically to launch this bridge into production, and then we will come up with some more bridges with other ecosystem. So can vested gens be staked? Very good question. So we have a lot of functionality for Genshiro token holders. So currently we are preparing a sort of guideline for Genshiro tokens, token holders. So you guys will have with you some sort of user manual for your Genshiro tokens, how you actually can act with them, where you can stake them, and believe me, you have a lot of options. Maybe you are not aware of all of them, but we'll introduce it and sum up with some nicely looking documents with infographics, and you will definitely have like a lot of choices, a lot of options to stake your gens and earn on your gens liquidity within our platform. Can you contribute to a Q Crowdloan with Ledger? The answer is yes. If you go to our xDOT platform, you can vote for Equilibrium using Ledger. So I believe we are the only crowdloan campaign that support Ledger in the space. And meanwhile, we have also the Genshiro application, which has been deployed to Ledger Live. And if you guys are interested, you can use it with your Ledger right away. Thanks for the great evening. Really interesting. Will it be time to announce the winners? Yes. Eventually, we're approaching this moment when we want to actually announce the winners of our Megaboost on Genshiro. So let me remind you that those of you who actually pledged your KSMs during the last week of our crowdloan on Kusama are eligible to participate in our super lottery, which is called Megaboost. We are super excited today to announce the winners of Megaboost Lottery. So Amber, our assistant today, she just dropped the list of winners here in the chat. Please go right away to there and actually find their 5 randomly picked addresses who actually gets 3,000 gens per 1 KSM from the number who actually contributed the largest amounts of KSMs during the last week. Also, there are 10 addresses out of the entire list of participants in our crowdloan campaign on Kusama who got the super prize of 10,000 gens per each KSM they contributed. You can see here 10 randomly picked addresses. So we congratulate you guys on winning these super prizes. And given that, like, we're actually, like, we have covered almost everything that we wanted to cover during the call. So if you have any further questions, please join our community channels, our Telegram, follow us on Twitter, and so on and so forth. We love our community. You are super active. We feel your support, and definitely this winning of Kusama auctions would not be possible without you. And let me remind you that the future is multi-chain, and we're building it together.
Yay. Yeah, thank you guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks for the time. We'll be back soon. Bye-bye.